Doug, what did you do?
I have no idea.
I ruined his rifle. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you a man who has introduced to me a rifle that was the rifleman's rifle, the finest over-the-counter bolt-action rifle you could purchase in the middle of the 20th century. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Doug Adams. And Doug, this is your Winchester Model 70 in 30-06, right?
That's correct, Ron. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
My pleasure.
And this, in fact, isn't my rifle. It was my grandfather's rifle, Afton Adams, purchased almost 100 years ago, probably.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so where do you think this rifle was made in? What year?
I would say in the 30s, Ron.
In the 30s?
My best guess is probably the 30s. But I brought it to you because you're more expert in that.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
Put me on the spot. Okay. Seriously, the experts are out there watching us, and they're going to say, oh, I can tell already when that was made. But when I give them the serial number, they're going to have it. 37865. That sounds like it's in the 30s, like you said. Okay. But I'll bet you somebody could definitely tell you that. So how did you come by this rifle? It was your grandfather's. I assume that you bought it from him or he bequeathed it to you?
So my father was the only son of my grandfather.
Okay.
And I'm the only son living of my father. And so it has been handed down through those generations. Yeah. And I intend to give it to my son, Ryan, when I'm no longer here. So it's going to stay in the family. It will be Ryan's great-grandfather's gun, and it will be a treasure to have.
So when you were a boy, you probably saw your dad and your grandfather hunting, and he would have had this rifle, so you probably knew it way back then.
Yep.
Gradually came to appreciate what it was. Tell me some stories about him going hunting. What was that like?
So my grandfather grew up hunting, and they did it for subsistence more than they did it for sport back then. But my grandfather was a dirt farmer. He had a 160-acre dry farm, and he had a 90-acre irrigated farm, and he farmed it with a small 8-end tractor. And in the background of that was the mountain where that was his hunting ground.
Right there by the farm, huh?
Yep.
That's cool.
He would go there, and every year he would come home with a beautiful mule deer.
So there you are, 8 years old, 9 years old, dreaming about going hunting, I suppose, like I did when I was that age.
That's correct.
And here comes Grandpa with this rifle and a dead deer every year?
Every year. Every year we would go down to his place, and we would just marvel at this nice 4-point or 5-point buck that he had hanging.
Oh, they had big ones back in those days, didn't they?
They were nice bucks.
So when did you get to start shooting it? So
I started shooting, I started shooting this particular gun in the 70s, probably as a 12, 14-year-old boy. Oh. Grandpa didn't, he reloaded his ammunition.
Nice.
And Grandpa didn't just let anybody shoot his guns.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a privilege to be able to do that. However, I had plenty of my own firearms. My go-to gun is still a 243. But this 30-06 is one of those guns that's classic and priceless for me. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a valuable gun in its own right, whether you have any family connections or not. But boy, when you've got a rifle like that you can trace back in your family and have those memories from when you were a boy and now your son, that is just cool all the way around. Yeah.
Well, let's dig into this now. Have you hunted with it since then?
I have not. I have not hunted with this particular gun, partially because I love my 243 and my father hunted with a 270. I like those two calibers. I love this gun just as a memento of my grandfather.
So when's the last time you shot it?
Well, to be honest with you, it's been a long time.
A long time.
So I'm not going to put a number on that, but I would say it's been 20 years since I've shot it.
Well, you want to see how well it shoots because we've got our targets. Obviously, we've got the bench here. We're going to do some shooting. You want to see how well it shoots?
Can't wait.
Now, did your grandfather ever complain about it not being able to hit deer or anything like that?
Never.
It was just like, go hunt, shoot, you got it, right?
I don't think my grandfather ever took more than 5 bullets, rounds to the mountain. Yeah. And he would come home and he'd have 4 left.
That's the way to do it.
I just don't think that he ever, fired this weapon too much.
Well, listen, have you cleaned it since then? Or has it still got the smoke from when Grandpa was shooting it?
I don't know. We need to look at that.
Oh, gosh.
I can't remember.
Let's take the bolt out and look down the bore, make sure there aren't any wasp nests in it. I'm seeing daylight. Give it a look.
Oh, let me see.
Give it a look.
Oh, yeah. You know what? For a 100-year-old gun, I think that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah. Well, we'll look at it with a bore scope afterwards. What I want to do, because so many folks have rifles like this, they don't know if Grandpa ever cleaned it or they should clean it. You know, how does it shoot? This has probably been in this condition for the last, 20, 30 years at least?
Yeah, at least.
Why don't we just shoot it? Have you got the same loads your grandpa used? This looks like modern ammunition right here.
This is modern ammunition.
Okay.
I was fearful to bring some of my grandpa's reloads.
He does have some yet, huh?
Yeah, I have some at home, and I probably should have brought them with me, but I probably wouldn't. I'd rather keep them.
Okay.
You know,
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'd shoot him, but but it's not my grandpa. Why don't you get in the rifle? I've got the chronograph set up. I'm going to turn it on for you. I'm going to turn on some cameras. We can see your target out there at 100 yards.
Perfect.
You just take your time and try to shoot as well as you can. We'll see where your first shot goes, and if it's on the paper, we'll aim at the same spot every time. We're going to go for a 3-shot group.
Sounds great.
And then we're going to talk about maybe making some alterations. I'll talk to you about that later. Don't get freaked out. Okay. You get in there, get yourself all ready. Why don't you put 3 rounds down?
Okay.
I think you can take your time because that deer's not moving. He's just watching you. Not spooked at all.
You want me to chamber around?
If you're ready to go, I'll turn everything on, come back here, and then you can chamber around and take your shot.
Okay.
Okay. Chronograph is on. Camera is recording your hits on the target. Let's go for it.
Fire in the hole?
You betcha. Did you hit anything?
I believe that there's a hole in the paper.
Hole in the paper! Grandpa is smiling down on you right now. Lift that bolt up and take that round out and leave it open for me. I'm going to go forward.
Okay.
Check that camera. Maybe I can see that hole. Looks like it's a little high and to the right?
Yeah.
Okay. Unless I'm looking at the wrong target. I'm looking at the wrong target, man. Sorry, bud. I focused on the wrong target.
I think I'm about 4 inches high and just slightly to the right.
Okay.
Almost missed the paper.
On the right side, though, right? Yeah, it's pretty far out there. I should have used a bigger lens, but... So you think you almost missed the paper?
Yeah, if you look, I think I'm just slightly to the right and
on
just
the edge
about
of the paper.
3 inches down from the top. Which would probably been about right for what he had it sighted for. He always couple inches high at 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the high part sounds right, that off to the right.
It's slightly off to the right, maybe an inch.
Okay. Now, what I noticed when you shot, you slapped the trigger. Your finger was way out straight like this, and then when you said fire in a hole, and I said, okay, anytime, I was waiting for your finger to come back and caress that trigger, and it said it slapped it.
Yeah.
So that might have pushed your shot out.
As a military man, I should know better than that.
Yeah, but you haven't shot it for 30 years, right?
True.
Got to use every excuse you can come up with, man.
That's true.
So why don't you this time caress that trigger nice and lightly and then ease it back like they taught you in the Marines?
Yep. My drill sergeant would not be happy with that.
All right, give it another one. That one, by the way, that was 2,766 feet per second. Yeah, much better on the trigger. 2710, 2,710 feet per second. How'd that one feel? And can you see it?
I think it's a little closer to I think it's lined up. I don't know.
All right, let's take one more then, and then we'll go look at the target.
All right.
Okay. Third shot, here we go.
Here we go. This is the winner. This is the money.
Money shot. Caress that trigger now. Easy. Yeah. Dead deer, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
That one was 2743. So
I think Grandpa'd be proud.
what load are we looking at here? 165 grain. All right. Okay, 2743. Let's run out there, look at that target, and then talk about making some adjustments on this rifle. And we're going to talk about these crazy safety I've noticed you got on here.
Yeah.
There are some things different about this Model 70 than the new one. So we'll talk about that. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Grandpa'd be proud.
Oh, those top shots are yours?
Yeah, right there.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, you know, a little to the right, but not bad.
Oh my gosh, Doug, that's incredible.
You know, Grandpa'd be pleased with that, and it's, you know, it's probably go an inch to the left, and I think I'd be in the money.
Yeah, we'll just make an adjustment to the left.
Yep.
I think you want to be that high. You're almost.
It's a little high.
Yeah, your average is right up there at 4.
You know, I think maybe if we could drop it down an inch and maybe over an inch, I think I'd be right there.
Let's do that.
Okay.
What a group! That is crazy.
I'm so pleased, and I think Grandpa'd be proud too.
Now you're gonna want.
Dad would.
I know somebody's gonna want to steal that rifle from you.
Not hardly, buddy. Not hardly. No way.
2710, 2766. Your high was 2766. And your low, come on, buddy. Your low was 2710. So here's your average, 2739. Say 2740. That's what you can use for your ballistic charts to figure out your drops and things. And you have a pretty good idea what's going to happen out there.
Awesome.
All right, we'll delete that string and start over. I can't believe what that thing shot, Doug.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
Pleased? that shoots as well as the last 8 brand new factory rifles I think I tested out here. I mean, that's great.
That's awesome.
And as for your lousy trigger control, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, again, my drill sergeant would not be pleased.
But he would be pleased with that group.
Yeah, that
so
was a good group.
You think that the shot that's the furthest out of the group was your first one where you slapped the trigger, and the next 2 are right there. I'll bet you this thing shoots under an inch.
Yeah, I think I can get it. I think I can do better.
Yeah, but I'm impressed with that rifle. Now, we'll make your scope adjustments, and you want to shoot 3 more?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, let's just see how well it does. Because what I'm thinking right now, even though I started off thinking this is a really dirty barrel and we probably need to clean it before it'll shoot, you might not even want to mess with it if it shoots this well.
Yep, and that's what I'm thinking too. You know, why mess with something that's doing that well?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
All right, let's make our adjustments.
Okay.
Why don't you hop on the chair there?
Okay.
Steady up that rifle so I don't knock it off the table and mess you up. Okay. Now, I think we're coming down. I think I want to give it, how high do you want to be? You want to be 3 inches high?
I think 3 inches instead of 4. It looked like we were about 4. And
okay.
I'd like to come down an inch and maybe to the left an inch.
All right. So that should be 1 MOA. This is old scope, doesn't have clicks. It doesn't say quarter click, but I'm imagining that's what it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers on it. Yeah. So I'm going to assume that between number 5 and number 6 is 1 MOA. So I gave it a 1 MOA adjustment, I think, down.
Okay. Perfect.
So I hope it's perfect. And now we've got to go to the left. Just a couple of clicks, I believe. And there are no clicks, but we'll go left. Where's that marker? 1 bar. That should do it.
Okay.
All right.
You want them?
Yeah, we don't have to put the caps back on. A lot of times I'll just leave them on until I'm done with all my adjustments, but then sometimes I'll knock them off and lose them.
Okay.
So let's just at least lightly tighten them on there. There we go. Just enough to feel the rubber so you don't get water in it later. You don't want to lock them down too hard and then they'll get old and dried out.
Right.
Start leaking because you've put too much pressure on that gasket. Okay. Do you need to put your glasses on when you shoot?
Nope.
You had them off, all right? Good enough. The chronograph is going. Let me, before you load up, go ahead and put them in the magazine.
Okay.
And tell me when you've got them in the magazine, and then I'll start this downrange camera here.
All right, sounds great, Ron. Okay, they're in the mag. Fire in the hole.
Nice control. Ready to give her another one?
Yep.
27, 26 on that one.
Should I give it the third one?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good.
If you can afford the ammo. All right.
All clear.
All right, this time I'm just going to jump to your average. 27.33.
Pretty consistent with what we had before.
Yeah. I think you can figure it at 27.40 we said last time, 35, and then we can run a ballistic table for you. Now, something I noticed here is you're riding on the sling stud up front, but most of us would say sling stud up front. But folks, this is a mid-20th century rifle. They didn't have quick release.
Not detachable.
No detach here. So you've got to consider that grabbing on the bags,
right?
Both the front and the back. But based on the way you're shooting, it's not that big of a problem. Well, it doesn't seem to be.
Jury's still out on this last round. Yeah. Maybe it's not as tight a group as the first one.
Yeah, we'll go out and check.
Okay.
And then I think when we come back, we'll show a few features of this old rifle and how it maybe looks a little different than the ones today.
Awesome.
Because they still make the Model 70 Winchester. It's still the rifleman's rifle, but it's got a few changes on it.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll check that out. But let's go on down there and see how you group this time. What have you got here, Doug? Uh-oh.
No.
What did you do?
What did I do, Ron?
You opened it up. Holy moly's.
Wow.
Oh, look at that.
I'm everywhere but where I should be.
Well, not necessarily. So your first three were here.
Yep.
One of your shots was here. That was probably the first one.
That's the money shot, isn't it?
But you know why it's high and these two are lower?
I don't.
That old scope is probably stuck.
Ah.
This happens a lot.
Adjustments.
The erector tube in there is being pressed on by two screws. That's what you're turning. And they gall each other when they're rubbing.
Ah, so
and
we
an
can
older
blame the scope.
You can blame the scope, but not for these two.
Dang it.
No, maybe you can blame it for these two because it might have not jarred loose. I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
What I often do is I take an instrument like this and I tap the turrets after I make the adjustment to break it loose.
Okay.
Another thing you can do is dial it real far.
Yeah.
And then come back to break it loose. That's what we should have done.
I suppose despite the fact that my grouping is wider now, it's still a dead deer.
Yeah, that is a point. But you want to shoot a lot better than that. We know you can do better than that. And those three are the ones that tell the tale on that rifle's ability.
Again, I'm just glad that my drill sergeant's not here. He might say, Doug, I think you can do better than that.
He might slap me up the head and say, why didn't you fix that scope before you let him shoot? Hey, do you mind shooting another group?
I'd be happy to.
Do you mind if I try to group?
I would love to have you shoot one, and then I can blame you if it's off.
Exactly right. I'm trying to give you an out here. That's
Plus,
just
it'll give my shoulder a break for a minute.
Your shoulder hurts?
A little bit. Without a pad, it's...
So I'm thinking, Doug, that the rifle is more than capable based on those first three shots, and it was the scope. And I think we've broken it free, but I just want to tap it a little anyway.
Yep.
I don't know if that's enough jarring to do anything. I always use plastic so I don't mar anything. You don't want to use a hammer.
Right.
Rubber mallet would be nice, but...
Well, I'd absolutely love to have you shoot it and see what your grouping looks like.
Well, I appreciate that. I'd enjoy shooting it too. I'm not so sure now that you mentioned the recoil that I'm all that excited about shooting it, but...
You want me to get you a sock? we could pad it up with a sock.
I want to try to be a macho guy here. I do have a recoil pad, and I'm going to recommend we use that, but I want to get the feel for a 1930-something rifle.
Right.
See if I'm as tough as Grandpa, eh?
Yeah.
All right, Doug, what I'll do is I'll try not to flinch.
Okay.
I hope I don't have to have shoulder surgery after this. But I'll waste 3 of your bullets and I'll sell you some more for half price when I'm done.
I want to watch your trigger finger too and see what you're doing differently.
All right. I might end up jerking the trigger out of my fear of recoil here. Now I'm going to let that front end fly.
Okay.
We'll see how it does on the first shot. But you know what I might do is aim at a different target. Well, you've got those 2 shots left and right. I think I can keep track of those 2. All right, I'll go dead center. Here we go.
How'd that feel?
Not too bad. Not too bad, really. Got me a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to shoot 20 rounds right now. But for hunting, it wouldn't bother me at all.
Right, right.
And it didn't seem like it lifted up much, did it?
No, I didn't see it lifting up. I was noticing. I was watching that too.
I mean, it's got a firm hold on it here, but yeah, I really can't even see a hole. It's a pretty heavy trigger.
Yeah, it is.
I think I've got a trigger scale in my box over there. We'll measure it. Yeah, the diopter's not right for me, so I'm not getting a real clear target view. It's a little bit fuzzy, but I can certainly see the red dot.
You're smooth.
I think I got a group about that big.
I hope you're right. But I'll be a little disappointed if it's not as better than mine.
Not only that, but I was 100 feet per second faster too.
Oh, come on.
No. I have literally seen guys who thought if they pushed when they shot, it would make it go faster. I'm not kidding.
We're still at 27:32.
See if we can figure out where I hit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got a one-hole group here, Dad.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, I actually do.
What the heck?
Holy crumolies, look at this.
Two in the same hole. Look at that.
I must have put one out here though, but those two are right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that's true. I believe this is one, and those definitely are two new ones.
Yep, those are your first three. Then you went bang, 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 and then I went bang, bang, bang or something, but
yeah.
Doggone it if that third one, I don't know. I didn't feel like I pulled anything, but maybe it was the scope settling down. I don't know.
That's a heck of a grouping, and you notice it did come down too. So we're
1, 2, 3. That's where you want to be.
Right
if that's legit, that's right on the money. I think we do need to come back a couple more clicks. Not that it clicks, but
again, Grandpa'd be proud.
How far did he shoot his stuff when he was hunting? Did he ever say?
You know, he used to shoot some 300 and 400 yard shots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so that would be, relative to his sighting, because he had them 3 and 4 inches high at 100.
Well, there's a gong out there at 300. You want to try to whack it?
I would love to.
Let's see what we can do.
Okay.
Hey guys, Doug wants to try the 300 yard gong now. So we're figuring we're looking pretty good for 3 inches high. And I'm thinking 3 inches high, 165 grain bullet, but given the BC of it and everything, you're probably going to drop 6 inches, 300, just a guess. So on that gong at 300, it's got a piece of white paper warning one of the factory. When I put it up, I didn't even take it off.
Okay.
Thought we could aim on it. It just has one bullet hit on it from somebody else shooting it.
Okay.
And with that 6 inches of drop, I think if you aim at the top line of that white, it should hit the lower part of the target.
Awesome.
But that breeze you're feeling from the left, probably going to give you 4 inches of wind deflection.
Okay.
So I'd aim at that upper left corner of that white target on the gong.
You got it.
And I've got the camera, I'm going to turn that on. I've removed the chronograph so you don't shoot it, since that's a different line you're taking now. Yeah. And as you saw, I had my hand under there to get it elevated enough to hit that. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable on that. And when you're ready to go, put it around in the magazine and tell me, and then I'll turn the camera on, come back here, and you can load her up.
Awesome. Sounds great.
This would be Grandpa shooting a mule deer.
Grandpa's mule deer. Fire in the hole.
Okay. Oh, that deer caught
I got it.
Whoa.
Yeah, baby.
All right, you clear?
Yep, clear. Well, what was interesting is I'm holding my breath waiting for that ding, and I didn't hear it, and I didn't hear it, and I didn't hear it. Then I remembered it's 2730 feet per second. I'm like, okay, it's going to hit. And it did, finally.
Takes a while for that sound wave to come back to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, oh, did he miss? Squang. Nope, he didn't miss.
Again, Grandpa would be proud.
Yeah, that is a fine rifle. Folks, I think you can understand why this was considered the rifleman's rifle back in those days. And it easily still could be. You know, it's a heavy rifle by today's standards. Just got a little more drop in the comb. This is part of the reason you're probably feeling a little more recoil. If that straight comb comes back like that, that helps. You don't get the slap up into your cheek as much with it. And of course, this was set up for the iron sights. You can see your grandpa probably took it off when he put the scope on.
Yep.
He wouldn't have had to, but most of us back in those days thought, well, that's going to be in the way.
Yep.
But really, you don't see it.
Wish I still had it.
Yeah, it would be nice if it did.
Yeah.
It's a nice backup, but it sure shoots. Now, some of the things different on here, we probably bring the camera. What we'll do is we'll talk about it, and then we can bring the camera in and get some close-ups. But the safety is the biggest deal, folks. You look at this, and the safety is on top of the bolt. So with a scope on there, it's hard to get to.
A bit tough.
Yeah, it's not something that you'd snap off for a quick shot.
Right.
If the grizzly's charging, he's probably going to eat you.
Yeah.
Before you can get that off.
Slow.
Yeah. But that's why Winchester then went to that side one, so you didn't have the problem with the scopes once scopes became a thing. But you have your classic controlled round feed action, and this is what real riflemen valued so much. You've got that huge claw, and that's got such a grasp on the case there that you're not ripping. With those smaller little claws on some of the rifles back in the day, that tiny little connection was fine as long as something wasn't sticking.
Yeah.
But if you got a round that wanted to sort of stay in the chamber, you could rip right through the brass and leave it in there. And then that grizzly's going to get you again. But this is why they called it controlled round feed. I'm sure you knew that. But a lot of folks go, what's controlled round feed? It's the fact that you're controlling it with the bolt all the time. So once you've pushed it up out of the magazine, it leaps up underneath that claw extractor, and that controls its travel all the way in and back out again. If Grandpa Ron can get it in there. Come on, buddy. Work with me, work with me. Gotta watch the spring has to be perfectly lined up with the lugs, the locking lug right there. Yeah. I'm really showing folks what I know here now. God, that guy really knows his stuff, doesn't he?
Well, I think you do, or I wouldn't have brought my grandpa's rifle to you to give me some details on it.
Yeah, we'll get the camera in here. You've watched this, Doug?
Yep.
Once it pops out of there, how it slides up underneath that is so cool.
Yep.
So now instead of closing it, I'm just going to come back and look what happens. It brings it back out.
Yep.
You do that with a push feed and it leaves it in there.
Yep.
And that was the thing they really valued, especially with dangerous game stuff.
Right.
And then to eject it, there's a standing blade ejector back here under the receiver. It's just a piece of metallic blade sticks up. So it's always there to knock that thing off. Nice. And the harder you come back, the further out it throws your brass.
That's
which
awesome.
Is a pretty nice feature for when you're in a big hurry. And we'll get some images here too where it says 30 government 06. GOV-T-06.
Yep.
That was the original was called the government
the old Model 70.
Yep, 30 government of 1906. Pretty cool. And then there's that steel butt plate. Oh, baby. You notice they put the texture on there, that bit of checkering?
Yeah.
That way your wife knew you actually were out hunting when you came back because you would have those marks in your shoulder.
So I've got seven indented marks in my shoulder, so she should know that I've been out hunting.
You got a whole pattern on there, buddy. Here's something Doug and I haven't talked about yet. It's bedding the action to the stock. We are all familiar with that tang screw back there. And then we're familiar with the one right up in front of the action at the recoil lug, which would be right under the receiver ring. And on the Winchesters, that's integral with the receiver. It's a square-bottomed receiver with a lug sticking down into the stock to bed it. And you pull them all together. Most people with rifles today know that. That's the way they kind of all work. But look what they did back in the 30s and into the 50s, and I think right up until 64. There's another bedding screw that screws down to the barrel. And that's why that hump is in the barrel. It both accommodated the open sight and took that screw. So you're pulling the barrel down into the stock. And eventually what it became a bit of a problem with stocks warping. If it's raining and snowy and you get too much moisture in it and it warps, you've got that connection point. So guys started free floating their barrels. You sand the barrel channel out to float it for more consistency. Well, then that screws in the way, so they'd take them off. And these days, of course, they've completely abandoned it. So do you want to leave it the way it is and not clean it? Or do you want to see what the thing would be like if you cleaned it?
I would absolutely love to have you look at it and clean it and maybe just do a little
I mean, I'm happy to do it for you, but as well as it seems to be shooting, I don't know. You know, I can't imagine that cleaning a barrel is going to make it shoot worse. It's just a habit.
Right.
But it could shoot better. No, plenty dirty enough, but then we just shot it.
Yeah, we put 7 rounds through it, didn't we?
Yeah. At least I shot 3,
we put,
12
10
maybe.
rounds, at
3,
least.
6, 9, 10, 11,
rounds?
12.
12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we can clean it. But it looks to me like underneath this carbon fouling, I'm seeing a fair amount of light pitting from rust, probably.
Okay.
Which is not at all unusual on older barrels like this, especially for a casual hunter who didn't necessarily take care of it. He was out in the rain or whatever. That stuff can happen pretty quickly.
Right.
The point is, it still shoots.
Yeah.
So what if there's some light pitting in there? But yeah, we could definitely clean that thing up and see what happens.
Yeah. Again, for its age, I think it's doing excellent.
Oh, gosh, yes. Let me come in from the other way and see what sort of serious throat wear you have on it, because that's often a problem if it's shot a lot. I can't imagine this one was shot that. Most hunting rifles, you don't get them that hot. The throat starts to erode because of the heat from quick shooting, like on a prairie dog rifle.
You know, in 30 or 40 years of hunting, my grandfather probably shot 50 or 60 rounds out of this gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would guess that he was pretty conservative with his
Oh,
ammunition.
sure.
And he was a great shot, and so I'm not sure that he would have needed.
I think you're right, because I am not seeing much cracking. There's a little bit of alligator right there, but not bad at all. Hey, let's clean it then. I think that'd be fun.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Cool. So we'll try to get the carbon out first here.
Okay.
And I've got my little secret ingredient here. If it's hard to clean, this stuff is magical. JB compound. Pop that thing open and look at it. There's kind of a waxy clay mixture in there.
Yeah.
And there's pumice in it.
Pumice. Okay.
Pumice.
Very cool.
And it polishes up a bore. It's as gentle as jeweler's polish, they tell me. You don't have to worry about it scratching your bore or anything.
Nice.
So I use that to clean it out in a hurry. JB Bore Compound.
Nice to have a professional clean this.
Well, I'm not doing it professionally because I should put a bore guide in there. Yeah, you know, for one cleaning, it's not going to make a big deal, but guys who are really picky about their rifles, if you have a bore guide, what it does is it gets shoved into the chamber, so then your rod is going where your bullet would without slapping the sides. And supposedly doesn't wear out your rifling. I think it's a little overstated by some guys, but I can understand. I do it with my, my finest rifles that really, really, really shoot well. It's like, I don't want to risk it. But I just, given what goes on with bullets flying down the bore and everything, I just can't imagine a little bit of cleaning rod. It's going to make that much difference.
Right.
But hey, plenty of people will say, "You crazy, Spomer. What a dumb idea." You notice I hold it back here while I'm running through. That does a couple of things. It helps me guide the rod instead of using that mechanical bore guide.
Right.
I just keep my thumbs right there so I get a good straight pull. But I'm also taking any dirt and grit that gets on the rod off as it comes back out. That may be overdoing it too, but we all have our little idiosyncrasies. So that'll soak in there for a while, and then we'll get the bronze brush and scrape it out. But let's let it set for a while. Well, we cleaned the barrel. We didn't get all the copper out, but it looking pretty shiny now.
Looking a lot better.
So I think, Doug, we're going to have you shoot the fouling shot. Let me get this past that so you don't snag that guy. Get this guy on back there. And now, one thing, folks, you're shooting a rifle like this with a sling on it. Obviously, that sling is probably got the potential to screw up your shots, Right. But I think we're doing awfully darn well for having it on there. I really can't complain. So why don't you get ready, Doug? You got your ears?
Yes.
You might want to protect those. Give it a fouling shot and then shoot a 3-shot group. Let's see if it shoots any better being cleaned.
Okay.
I can't imagine it shooting a heck of a lot better, but you never know. Maybe it's a half MOA rifle. And why don't you aim at the, they've got those little targets on the corners?
Yep.
Go for one on the bottom left.
So we're shooting at the 100-yard target.
Yes, the 100-yard target, bottom left.
Okay.
Is
that
that
going to ring the bell again?
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. You love that sound, don't you?
Yeah.
Can't blame you. Is that too high?
Nope.
Okay.
Bottom left. Fire in the hole.
Okay. Whoa! You raised some dust out there. Can you see where it hit?
Where?
Yeah, I can't tell on this. You want to shoot a 3-shot group now?
We can.
Well, let me run out there real quick
Yeah, let's go take a look.
and just make sure where that one went. It's, that should have gone anywhere out of a clean barrel. Who knows? Yeah, not bad. Cold barrel. Now, we had been shooting more like 3 inches high, right?
Right.
1, 2, 3. So we're down, but we're still consistently a good half inch to the right. So let's give it a click or two to the left then, and then see where your next group is.
Perfect.
But let me patch up a few holes here so we don't get lost. All right. Got one there and one there. We'll be all right on it. I think you can shoot for the center if it's easier for you, Doug.
Okay. Sounds
Just
great.
give us a 3-shot group right there. Hey, Doug, I remembered to grab the
Awesome.
trigger gauge, and I pulled a couple and it went to 4, 4.5. There you go, 4 1/4.
4 1/4.
So it's not as heavy as I thought. I don't know why I thought it felt heavy. It's nice and crisp.
Yeah.
They were famous for having really good triggers. Everybody loved the trigger on the Model 70. Now, if this thing is really in the 30s, do you know how when they first came out with this Model 70?
No.
I think it was 1935 or 6.
So this is
So this had to really be early. So it might be into the 40s. We'll find out if people will know that serial number and have a better idea when it was actually made.
I'd love to look at the comments and make sure that.
Yeah. And we could look, we could look it up online too, but let's shoot that 3-shot. Oh, we were going to dial it back, weren't we? Give it to the right?
Yeah, to the left.
The left, it needs to go left, okay.
Left an inch.
All right. Hang on to your butt there. Okay. Not that butt, yeah, that butt. Hey, you
had
kids.
me reaching for the wrong one.
Had you reaching, and I left. Right there.
Okay.
That should
That's
do it.
the money shot, or money adjustment.
You better be. Now, of course, that following shot, we really can't count that one, but the other ones have been a little bit to the right too, so I think they're consistent there. But this one might go higher now that you've lubricated the barrel with some gilding metal.
You're right.
So,
yeah, it's slick now. Fire in the hole.
two more will tell the tale.
Fire in the hole.
One more. Don't screw it up now. You got a one-hole group going.
I'm glad that's the last one, pal. My shoulder's feeling it. Fire in the hole.
Yeah. Can you see him through your scope?
I cannot.
Cannot. Well, listen, before we go look at them, I want to have your permission to shoot a 300-yard gonger.
I would love you to do that.
Oh, I've been looking forward to that.
Yep.
All right, now, we looked at the footage from his first gong shot, and his bullet hit above where he was aiming. We got no wind deflection, about an inch higher than where you're holding on that, which really shocks us. So was it the rifle? Was it the shooter? Who knows? One shot, you really can't tell.
Yeah,
but
an inch higher, and I'd have been off the target. It wouldn't have rung.
So I'm going to try the same hold and just see what I hit.
Okay.
There's no wind, so I'm going dead center.
Okay. Nice.
Clang. Where I
job.
hit, I don't know yet, but that sure was satisfying.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. This is the performance of a mid-20th century rifle. We don't know exactly when it was made. We're depending on the audience out there to tell us, because there's a lot of guys who really know those numbers. But this, Doug, is one fine rifle, and I really appreciate you bringing it over so I could work with it.
Thank you, Ron.
Man, hey, folks, if you're interested in a Winchester Model 70 from the old days, keep your eyes open. They pop up every once in a while, whether your grandpa gives you one or you have to buy it used.
Yeah.
They're certainly a grand rifle. Wish I had one myself. See y'all next time. Hunt honest and shoot straight. Doug, what did you do?
I have no idea. Maybe the shoulder's getting sore, and I'm starting to think about that.
Maybe you're flinching. No.
Aiming oil's not accurate.
All right, so there was your fowling shot. Then you aimed here, right?
Yes.
And somehow you managed to put one here, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then one way up here, suspect. But then,
Yeah, that is not a good grouping. I'll stay with that first grouping we did.
Yeah, we better dirty that barrel up again.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll shot a lot better with a dirty barrel. I ruined his rifle.